It's really, really important to accept each other unconditionally. This applies to what your spouse does. It also applies to how your spouse feels. Feelings are facts. We've said this. They don't indicate spirituality. It's okay for you to feel how you feel. If that's the case, then it is also okay for your spouse to feel how they feel, and to give them that safe space to talk about it. Most emotions that you have, especially heavy emotions, have a deeper root to them, meaning, like Ryan said, they may have absolutely nothing to do with you, and so it may be triggering an emotional response learned from childhood. And so one of the ways that we as spouses serve each other is not to block that emotion so that you don't have to be a part of it, but to help them say, okay, you're feeling this way. Let's talk about why you're feeling this way. And let's, pray about it and bring healing into this area. That's very, very important. When we were first married, we were not making very much money at all. I wasn't working, and you were making like $7 an hour or something like that. And we were living in this townhouse, and the kitchen was one of the largest rooms in the house that didn't have carpet, of course, and we had no mop, and so I had to clean the floor with the sponge, bucket and sponge, and I did that like once, and I was done. And then I asked Ryan if we could buy a mop. It was $10. Our weekly budget for groceries was $30. That makes me feel really old. And he said no. You can imagine how well that went over. But his no on the surface may have been a caution about how, it's not in our budget, and it's a third of our grocery bill for the week, and we just can't afford it. But really, when it comes right down to it, it was a response of the financial fears that he had developed from when he was a child. And so we didn't know any of this stuff when we were first married, so we had no clue until years later that that's where this was coming from. But so it has a deeper root. Your responses may have a deeper root. And wives, when your husband responds that way, don't respond in kind, but actually maybe help them through that. And husbands, same thing. That's very, very important. And so these things that we do with these emotions do affect our relationship with each other, whether good or bad.
The next way that we handle emotions properly is to empathize with the other person. Empathy is not feeling sorry for someone else, but it's understanding why they're feeling this way. Or you can even go beyond understanding and help them through the emotion. There's a lot of different tools in the churches, and I'm not going to necessarily go into everything, but sometimes helping them find the deeper true feelings, the true reasons why they're feeling that way is even better than empathy. Sometimes it's especially difficult for men to understand, or maybe want to understand, what their wives are feeling. But men, that is a part of submission and a part of serving, and it's a part of caring about them.
We can exist in opposites. We can feel one thing and choose to do another. We can doubt God and we can follow him. We can be angry with our spouse and love them. Roger mentioned this last week. We don't have to feel love to give love. This is existing in opposites. When we want to lie, but we choose to tell the truth. And it doesn't mean that we're inauthentic or that we're being hypocritical. Like Roger said, this is not a fake it till you make it. But we are living in faith, and it's actually a sign of maturity to be able to exist in these opposites. It's part of maturity when you're feeling those heavy emotions, but you're choosing to love the other person in spite of those emotions, and not choosing to respond to them in maybe those heavy emotions. You're not stuffing, you're not bottling, but you're properly handling these emotions. And The more mature you get when you can exist in those opposites, and especially the more practice you get at handling them properly, your emotional responses, you'll find, will come as a result of your value in Christ instead of your value for finding from the other person. You're not striving, you're not pulling life out of them, but you are receiving life from Christ, and you're able to give life and share life instead of sucking the life out of them.